Welcome, everybody, to It Tastes Every Gaming News. What's on the news today? PlayStation has nothing for 2024. Sad. All right. Sony Interactive Entertainment will not release any new major existing franchise titles before March 31st of 2025. So, Sony Interactive does not plan to release anything before March 2025. And that was brought up during a Q3 earnings briefing. Quote, regarding first-party software, we aim to continue to focus on producing high-quality works and developing live service games. That part sucks. Sony Group President, Chief Operating Officer, and Chief Financial Officer, and I apologize if I butcher his name, Hiroki Totoki. He liked to smoky. So he said, but while major projects are currently under development, we do not plan to release any new major existing franchise titles next fiscal year, like God of War Ragnarok and Marvel Spider-Man 3, all of which were big hits this year. Totoki continued, although the burden of acquisition-related cost will ease next fiscal year, we expect profit from first-party software to decrease slightly from the fiscal year due to the impact of the decrease in sales. Well, that kind of goes hand in hand. Due to this, operating income for the next fiscal year is currently expected to increase slightly from this fiscal year. However, while this is our baseline, we are reviewing measures for further improvement in profitability. I can't talk. Profitability in advance of the annual forecast results announcement this May. Now, there's a whole lot of blah, 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 blah going on. A lot of, investors, money talk, bullcrap. So, but what it comes down to for you and I and these two knuckleheads over here and all the people that play games, don't expect anything from Sony this year. Now, they will have third-party lineups, but they don't plan on releasing those big God of Wars and Spider-Mans and Spider-Man 2s and whatever. But Final Fantasy, is that in this quarter? Or is that coming in next quarter? Next physical year? I don't know how that works. I always get that confused. Their fiscal year starts in March.
Their fiscal year is from April to or March.
March to March, right?
March to March, yes.
Okay.
That's their fiscal
year.
year.
And Final Fantasy comes in when? March 6th, something like that?
No, February 29th.
Yeah.
I thought it was. Oh, well, shit.
But that's not their first party. So that's not theirs.
No, but it's pretty much their first party because they own it.
It's not even by Sony.
What other console's getting it? What other PC is getting it? They paid for first party. They paid for priority.
That's
not
I know
first
it's
party.
Not
first party, but they paid for it to be first party.
It's exclusive. No, they paid for exclusive.
I know there's two different wordings, but they paid for it. They're owning it because they suck. I'm just pissed that everybody's getting it. But anyways, so I find it funny. Too? On PlayStation only.
Yeah, but you have a PlayStation, so quit your bitching.
I know. But if I want to play it with my nice Xbox controller.
Well, we talked about a device that can do that.
That's true. That is true. So it's a weird year because this year Microsoft has 10 first party coming out, and Sony has donut holes. You're shaking your head.
That's because that's not what he said. They didn't say they weren't having any first party games coming out.
They said, let me get back to it, and I scrolled way far past it. Scrolling. Here, you read what they said, Pat.
He said no first party existing franchises. So they are having first party games, but none of the big, there's no Ragnarok coming out. No Spider-Man's coming out.
No big,
right. He didn't come out. And if he was just trying to hide things between the lines, and he's doing a very good job of it, because I take that as we have stuff coming out. We have first party stuff coming out, but we don't have anything that
majors.
Yeah. That we don't have any of our existing IPs is coming out with a new game this year. So they have unknowns coming out, but they're just will be the first time they run this IP is the way I take it.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't like the way they word it, but either way, it's going to be a weird year. I mean, Sony has a bunch of or Microsoft has a bunch of now, so we don't know anything about Sony except for what they're saying right now. So I don't know. I think this would be a good opportunity for Microsoft, as long as they don't put out a bunch of Redfalls to pick up a little hype. They won't help their sales, console wise, but it'd be nice to have a little hype for them. So, but what do you think about it, Pat, since you're already in? Do you think this will hurt Sony in any way, or do you think they might have that one game that we don't know about that'll blow a mind or two?
Yeah, I think they have some games that are coming out that we're not aware of, right? Like obviously, just like you mentioned, they are having games coming out that they have exclusive rights to. Like I think Rise of the Ronin is going to be one of those, right? Koei Tecmo is doing that one. Final Fantasy, the Rebirth one, like you said, is only coming out.
Blade.
Yeah, so they're doing some stuff that they're getting exclusive rights to right off the bat. But I do believe they probably have some first party things in the works. It's just nothing from their major hits, like we mentioned, like Spider-Man. So they probably have some no name IPs or never been released IPs that they're working on that may come out that they may not just be banking on. They may be banking that it's not going to be a banger. It's not going to bring in the money of God of War or Spider-Man, But I believe that they will probably publish something, because unless they're just trying to guide the conversation to steer clear of being like, we don't have any first party games coming out, because he didn't say we don't have any first party games coming out. We don't have any first party major titles coming out, because we haven't even hit March yet. So you're telling me that for a whole year, Sony's not going to have any first party games coming out? I find that hard to believe, but I can understand if they say we're not going to put out a God of War or Spider-Man. We just had one of those, and development life cycles for that stuff is years. Like we're talking 4 to 6 years. So they would have had to start working on Spider-Man 3, the next Spider-Man, while they were developing the other one, like a couple of years. They would have had to Assassin's Creed that crap. So I believe that they'll have something coming out. As you mentioned, the exclusive games is what's going to help fuel the fire for them to keep them relevant while they're working on that, if that's the case. Because I do want to play like Rise of Ronin and a few of those other games that they have exclusive rights to, but are not necessarily there. They're not developing, right? So it will be funny if they actually have no first party games coming out in a year when Microsoft's announcing 10 coming out. But Microsoft's just been buying up everybody and their brother. So
yeah, and they've been holding everything for so freaking long.
They had like a dry spell. Microsoft's just coming off their dry spell from a little bit over a year ago. So I would say we see something from Sony, just maybe not none of the big ones. So I don't know. I don't know. What do we got? We got Helldivers, but do you call that an exclusive because that came out on PC? Is Rise? I don't remember if Rise of Ronin was coming out on PC or not. I didn't look at that one. I just know that it's not coming to Xbox. And then that other one we just talked about, what, Stellar Blade?
Stellar Blade.
that has
booty
the
game,
the booty mechanics in it. So.
I wouldn't consider Helldivers exclusive because it is on PC, even though Sony paid for the rights to keep it off Xbox, or obviously Nintendo couldn't handle it, but so I wouldn't consider that. But
right.
Well, hold on. Who developed? Yeah, no, that wasn't Sony. No, I was trying to remember who.
But then you can't say that Rebirth is an exclusive because Rebirth is coming to PC, right? I thought Rebirth was going to PC and PlayStation.
No, I don't believe it's going to PC anytime soon. It will, but I don't think because it took a year or so for the original one to go out. to PC.
I thought that they were having a PC release this year. I didn't think it was going to be at the same time as the PlayStation release, but I thought it was at this calendar year. But I could just have read a rumor mill thing. You know how that is. But yeah, so I mean, I don't. The thing is as you mentioned, they have too many developers that are willing to take the money from Sony, or who knows, maybe their publishing arm, when Sony publishes a game, because there are games that they publish and they say, hey, we'll publish this for you, but you can't put it out on console, on Xbox. Maybe that's their deal, and that's why these companies do that. We do know that companies make backdoor deals like that and take it in the back door when they do deals like that. So
yeah, and when Sony publishes, I understand the exclusivity. They're fronting the money, so I'm a little more understanding of that. But they're not doing that for Square Enix or anything. So that's why that shit should be multi-console.
Sure about that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't look. I don't know. Let's see. Square Enix, yeah, you're right. They are publishing their own game, which they typically do, as you said, right? But like PlayStation or Sony, didn't they publish Helldivers, or was it their own studio?
No, I believe they did publish it.
Yeah. So I mean,
go back and look at the review. We'll tell you there.
Well, yeah, IGN gave it a 9, so we know who published it. They're a big Sony pony group right there. They don't, so, but to each their own, I say. But I think we will see more from Sony than we just won't see any God of War. We won't see any Spider-Man. We won't see anything like that there's their major franchises. I think we'll see a new IP from them, or maybe a more obscure IP. But for them not to be able to publish any first-party games in over a year, like a month over a year, to 13 months seems highly insane and illogical for them. Like they had nothing in the pipeline. But I don't know. Nick, what do you think, man? Do you think that we are reading too much into it, or do you think that Sony is literally just saying we're not releasing any first party for the next year?
No, I think they're just not releasing any major ones, like they said, like Spider-Man, God of Wars, the existing franchises, the big major existing franchises that everybody knows. I think the smaller titles will still come out during that time. I just think they're saying they don't have any big ones, which, I mean, that makes sense, right? I don't know why you have to say that. This was during an earnings call, right? So, I mean, like they have to say that to investors, during an earnings call, just to let them know, like, hey, no major first party titles are coming out during that time. Not to say that first party titles aren't coming out, just no major ones, none of the big ones, right? Which makes sense. I mean, investors should know that, being that they just released those, a lot of their major ones, they just came out. So it's like, yeah, but you're going to have other stuff like Until Dawn. I think they're remaking that one, or it's coming to PlayStation 5, whatever the hell they're doing with it. Concord, which I don't remember that game, but and then like you guys said, they have some PlayStation only titles like Rise of Ronin. That one is only coming to PlayStation. Final Fantasy Rebirth. That one may be coming to PC at some point, but I don't think the initial plans are for it to go to PC. Just like Intergrade or the first one, it took a while before that one got out on Steam. So, and then we'll see other titles coming that are only PlayStation 5 exclusive titles. That not necessarily from Sony, right? But I do think we will see some smaller titles coming from Sony that are from them. But like you guys said, just not major franchises. So, I mean, it makes sense. I don't know what else to say. I mean, if they didn't release any big first party titles, at all between the fiscal year of March, then they're just pulling in an Xbox at that point. So, Microsoft can do it, so can they. Microsoft took a little bit longer, but We're finally getting Microsoft. Finally, is getting their games out the door. It's been a long time. It feels like forever. But finally, we're going to get 10 titles this year from Microsoft and some really good ones. You know, as far as they go, I'm really looking forward to Senua's Saga and Avowed and a lot of their other titles coming out. So, but for Sony, yeah, we'll you know, none of their major releases will come out, but we will see other stuff from them. And I don't think this will hurt Sony at all. I mean, you know, Sony's still number one as far as, well, number one as far as between Xbox and PlayStation, right? You know, as far as consoles sold, yes, the Switch is way outperformed both of those things.
But you mean the PlayStation 5? You said the Switch. Oh no!
I was saying compared to the Switch. Yeah,
okay.
The Switch.
I forgot the Switch was even a thing in this.
Right, compared to the Switch, because somebody will point it out. Well, the Switch has sold more. Yes, I know, but we don't really. I don't know. It's a handheld. We don't really categorize it, but whatever. You know, usually when we talk about major consoles, we're talking about PlayStation and Xbox. You know, Switch is Nintendo. It's its own thing, right? It's its own entity to us, but. Not to say we don't love the Switch or like Nintendo stuff. It's just we don't classify it in the same group. But yes, as far as Xbox and PlayStation goes, you know, PlayStation's number one. They'll continue to grow and continue to sell. So even if they didn't release any first party titles in that fiscal year, I don't even think that would hurt them. I mean, it's just they're too ingrained into the gaming. I think towards the end of that fiscal year, people will be like, what the hell? But they ain't gonna like drop ship for it or anything like that, you know. So, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I think they're just gonna not have any major releases, which makes sense. Again, just that makes total sense. So yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Sony usually 3, maybe 4 major you know, heavy hitter games.
Hitter games, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not really that. I mean, as far as me, I'm not concerned about that at all because well, like we said, we have all the consoles, so it doesn't matter to us in that aspect. And you're right. I mean, PlayStation only, you know, PlayStation ride or diers, they don't care. I mean, they don't. They will. You know, they'll stick with PlayStation no matter what. They could never put out another game again, and they'll still be greatest company, greatest system, greatest games ever. They haven't put nothing out in 12 years, but still the greatest. That's how, you know, diehard they are. And it's cool to a point, but, you know, pretty soon you got to realize, you know, they're a shitty company. So
I don't know about the shitty company part as far as this analogy goes. But you know, Valve, we still love them. They haven't released anything since Alex, right?
That's true. That is true.
We're just even all of us we're so fed up, but like we're just waiting for that Half-Life 3 or something to come from Valve. It's like, you know, screw them. And it's like, wait, did somebody say Half-Life 3 or Left 4 Dead 3, or did you say a new franchise or something? Did you say something's come from Valve? No. Oh, well then, yeah, screw those guys.
Well, you know what? You know, that ponders a good question. So, like you said, Nick, we're really in a 2 console race, and it's not even a race anymore because Nintendo is Mario Kart in their own path to wherever they're going, and that's cool. I still love my Switch. It's just I want a dedicated, you know, true console. Microsoft's doing their own thing. Basically, they're going to Game Pass whore themselves out, and that's cool. And Sony obviously owns the console market. Valve comes out with a console. Do you think it would work? You think they would be?
I mean, they basically have one with the Steam Deck. Mm-hmm. I mean, because you can dock it and
play
it.
Truly dedicated console that would play Steam games and or, you know, dedicated games.
No, PC. That's what they're all about. They're all about PC, and so they made a handheld PC.
We need a competitor for Sony because Microsoft's doing their own thing. And you've said that 1,000 times, Matt, without competition.
I think it'd be hard for a competitor to enter the market the way it is.
I don't think that there's enough room for 3 major consoles. Nintendo.
Where's the other 2?
It's Xbox and Sony. Sony only does what Sony is because Microsoft nips at their heels. And that's all that's the reason. And that's competition. If Microsoft wasn't in the party, Sony could be douchiest company they ever wanted to be in. There's
they're doing that now, but no,
they have some people to
but
answer
nobody's truly trying to compete with Sony. Microsoft's not even truly trying to compete with Sony.
Oh, they are.
They're doing their own thing. Grant, I know. Well, I mean, with the acquisition part, yeah, they're going to try to own that. But I mean, as far as our console goes, I mean, Dreamcast 2 or something here, because I feel like it's really a one console game system right now. Because the way Game Pass is set up, it just doesn't feel like it's a multi-console competition.
Here's the funny thing is you say that, but you're primarily an Xbox player.
Yes, for Game Pass. And
even if Game Pass didn't exist, my primary console would still be an Xbox.
Oh, yeah. But does it truly feel like it's a competition between Microsoft and Sony?
It does consoles? To me, because I would feel if Microsoft
No, I'm saying consoles. Sorry, to make sure I understand. Okay, I mean with consoles, not console, not the games, but with consoles.
Yeah, and consoles, yeah.
Really, because you feel that?
Yeah, because I feel the Xbox is a better console. Now,
I don't disagree.
You have a very fervent PlayStation base. I think that the dashboard is better on the Xbox. Every time I play on the PlayStation, I cuss the dashboard. Like we've been playing Helldivers. I get on there and I'm like, how the hell do I close a game out again? I can't remember. How the hell do I go to my party? Where do I find my party? How do I put my console into rest mode? I can't hold down the PlayStation button. Like Microsoft is leaps and bounds on the dashboard ahead of Sony. And Sony's dashboard has always been kind of problematic. Microsoft has had their ups and downs on their dashboard. Their XMB days, and stuff like that. But Sony's dashboard is not user-friendly and it's not intuitive. Xbox is pretty close to being intuitive. But I dislike the way that Sony splits some toolbars at the top, some toolbars at the bottom. That makes absolutely no sense from a UI perspective. It's like I should be able to access everything from a simple bar. I shouldn't have to go, I need to put it in rest mode. That's the bottom bar. I need to go to a setting. That's the top bar. I need to find my party chat. That's a bottom bar. I need to find my media gallery. That's a top bar. It's the stupidest, most idiotic, moronic thing out there. I find that Sony's dashboard is not as intuitive as Microsoft. And it makes sense, right? Microsoft manufactures operating systems, so they have a UI team. They do this for a living. And I do think, and the consoles are comparable in specifications. Like Microsoft edges out in some places and Sony edges out in other places. It is what it is. I feel that there is a competition. It's just Microsoft is battling uphill at this point. Sony has a larger player base. They have a larger fan base. They have a more loyal fan base than Microsoft.
The loyalty thing is definitely true.
And so Sony has to fight against that. Sony's up here, Microsoft's down here, and it's like, who's got the high ground? Sony does. So how do you take the high ground? It's an uphill battle, and it's not going to change for years and years and years. Microsoft pulled a Hail Mary out with 360 that they have not been able to reproduce.
I think the reason they came out with 360 like they did was they released a little earlier than PS3. That was one help.
And Microsoft slept on the Xbox Ones. They slept on it.
Oh yeah, that was not sleeping. That was coma. I mean, that was almost vegetative state.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, but Sony, Sony has a loyalty, and you think, and if you don't agree with that, Sony could put out 10 different versions of the same console and they sell like hotcakes. And I'm like, the difference between that one and that one is that one's slim. That one's the piano. That one's the same damn console, but just different. It's different looks, and Microsoft tried to just do the faceplate thing and that didn't take off. And I loved that, but I mean, they'd have to buy a new console if I wanted my console to look like something else. But if I wanted, but Sony can put out 10 different versions of the same console with just tweaking the form factor and the look, and people go crazy and buy it. That's their fan base, and that's what has kept them in play for so long. And Microsoft just doesn't compete at that level. Now, all these acquisitions will make them a better player in the gaming market. In the console market, they have to find a way to separate themselves. And the only way you're going to separate yourselves is if you build a console that blows the other one out of the water for the same price or cheaper. That's it. And Microsoft can't do that. Sony can't do that. They really, so each year Microsoft's going to inch their way closer, until somebody can just pull out another 360 or another, PS3, or somebody pulls out the next, like, can't ignore console, and that's what'll happen.
Well, I don't know. Microsoft strategy doesn't seem to be geared towards dominating the console market. It just seems to be dominating the cash market, which is fine. I mean, I fully understand as long as they keep making solid consoles, solid controllers, solid user interfaces, so Pat doesn't blow somebody's brains out. But that's that to me is what is important.
Microsoft loses money on every console. They just admitted to $50 to $100 every console. Sony does not. Sony is is not losing money.
No,
so they got the better deal.
I think Sony loses like the first quarter or first year or whatever, and then they're able to make profit after that. Microsoft has never made a profit on any console, which is, I mean, I don't know how that works. I don't know if they're actually selling enough games to make up for the console loss, but it's crazy. But what's important though is games, plain and simple. If Sony's not dropping big boys out and Microsoft is this year, it's great for Microsoft. It's great for gamers and for gamers too, even if you're a PlayStation gamer. Like you've always said, competition breeds innovation. Innovation breeds cool new games. So hopefully Microsoft takes advantage of this opportunity. They have a year to not foobar this shit. Plain and simple. So, but anyways, we got off on a rant and a tangent and yada, yada, yada. So Nick, shut up over there. All right. You guys got anything else you want to say? All right. Well, let us know what you think. Is Pat right? There is actually a competition that they're trying, or am I right? And Microsoft's just doing their own thing because Nintendo's doing their own thing. Valve, make a console. I'll buy it. Shit, just to piss off Sony. Yeah, let us know what you think. Let us know what your thought is about a pretty good lull in the heavy hitters department over at Sony. Give us your feedback. Don't forget to hit those buttons, notifications, subscriptions, all that good stuff, and give us those comments. We love them. Keep those coming in. Until next time, see ya.